Joining us live on set now, BYU quarterback Taysom Hill. We welcome him back to the set. Great to have you with us, Taysom.
It's good to be here. I'd much rather be on the field, but you know, this is a close second.
Okay, let's start with the hard-hitting questions. We need to ask you, how's your schoolwork going, man? How's your pursuit of a 4.0 coming along?
We all know you're not getting a 4.0.
That's my goal. You know, it's funny. So I had a conversation with Coach Harbaugh. He called me after I broke my leg, and he basically just shared an experience of how he broke his arm when he was at Michigan, and he said his focus turned to school, right? And his advice to me was go compete in the classroom now. And so I've been doing my best at that. But we'll see what happens. I've set myself up to do well in school. I don't know if it's a 4.0. We'll find out. To be determined.
Is your wife kind of secretly happy that she has a little bit more time with you now?
I'm sure she is happy that we get to spend more time together. But she would obviously never wish anything like this upon her husband. But in that sense, it's been fun.
Taysom Hill with us on set as part of BYU's countdown to kickoff. Okay, let's talk about the recovery process. Everyone wants to know how you're doing. I imagine the outpouring on social media has probably been overwhelming, but how's the recovery?
The recovery's been good. It's just a slow process. It's something that I've had to learn to be patient with, and the overall time, right, is like 6 months. And there's a lot of things that happen like within that 6 months. So right now I can start putting pressure. I can start walking on it as long as I'm wearing a boot. And then in another like 5 weeks, they take a screw out of my foot. So they had to put a screw in between my two bones, my tibia and fibula, and that'll come out. And then after that, I can really start to ramp it up. And then it's kind of at my pace at that point. So it's kind of where I'm at.
So Taysom, look at the schedule for next season. You announced last week you're coming back. You look at all those games, Nebraska, Michigan, I mean, the list goes on, now Mizzou. Is there one game in particular that you've highlighted or circled that you're looking forward to the most next season?
I wouldn't say that I have one particular game. Right now, I'd say that Nebraska game. You know, it'll be the first time I'll get to play again in a long time, and you know, I miss it. So as I look into next year, that Nebraska game is circled for me, and every game's big, right? I think we saw it last year, we saw it this year, being independent, not in a conference game. Every game is a big football game. And so right now, my attention is Nebraska.
Do you like the effect of that, having each week be a huge football game?
Yeah, it's fun. You know, I think in a conference, you know, there's obviously games that mean more than others, and being independent, especially looking into our next football season, right? There's so many big games, big-time conferences on that schedule that every game is a big impact, and looking forward, it's a lot of fun.
As a recruit, if a coach is standing talking to you in your living room and saying, look at all these teams we get to play, look at all these historic venues we get to play at, is that more intriguing to you than, let's say, a Pac-12 conference?
Yeah, I think probably playing in a conference is probably a little more enticing in a big-time conference like that, because you kind of get the best of both worlds. You don't get to play other conferences, but you get to play big-time venues, big-time teams, and then you have an opportunity to play for some hardware. Right. And then if you do well in those conferences, you know you're going to have the opportunity to play the best of the other conferences. So you know, that's probably a little more enticing, but you know, playing these other schools, independents, BYU where we're at, it's a great opportunity.
Earlier this week, Taysom, you kind of made it official and said, I'm coming back for my senior season. I think at that moment there was a slight rumbling across BYU Sports Nation of cheering. But why did you feel like now was a good time to say, you know what, I'm coming back? Yeah,
honestly, it was the first time I addressed the media, you know, so I think everybody had kind of wondered. There's a lot of speculations out there, and something that I hadn't, like, you know, I certainly thought about it, but I had other things on my mind since the injury, and it's really just the first time that I addressed the media, so it was the first time it came up.
Here come the BYU Cougars. 26 of your teammates will take the field for the last time at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. Have you had some conversations with those guys, and what's the locker room feel for them right now?
Yeah, I've talked to those guys, and you know, more so probably the offensive guys than a lot of the defensive guys. But I think the basis of our decision or our conversations was, it's been a pleasure to play with you, you know, and more than anything, I wish that I was out there to help you guys celebrate and help commemorate, you know, this experience, your senior night, and so I try to give my condolences in that way, and that was kind of the basis of our conversation.
You probably had a lot of conversations with Christian Stewart, right? How have you been impressed with his play so far?
Yeah, you know, honestly, he's playing like I expected, right? He's came in, he's played well. He's always, you know, he's very onto it. He's never late to meetings, right? He in meetings he was always engaged. I think sometimes when you're not playing, it's easy to get sidetracked, right? To just sit in meetings and sit back and not pay attention. But Christian was always one of those guys that knew what was going on. If he didn't know what a route concept or what was going on the backside of something, he was always there to ask. And so when I did go down, I wasn't particularly worried because I saw his preparation beforehand.
We got one more question. I think this one's kind of a hard-hitting one. This is the one all Cougar fans want to know out there, and I mean I think especially us. How is your golf game right now?
In comparison to what? In comparing to your golf game?
I mean,
It's fantastic, right?
Yeah, if I'm comparing my golf game to yours right now,
even with the boot.
I would say that I'm like Rory McIlroy right now, if I'm comparing myself.
You're saying with the boot?
Right now with the boot, yeah.
Hey, BYU Nation, do not listen to that. That's not true. That's a false statement.
You set yourself up,
Set
man.
yourself up for
I
that.
want it on record that he's worse than me right now. He's in a boot. I got the kid easy.
Hey, man.
It's not true.
Athletes are athletes, dude. Doesn't matter. You can't hold athletes down. You know?
Taysom, great
That's
to have you here.
It's good
Appreciate
to be
the time,
here, guys.
man.
Thanks.